Today I have Susan Hamill from Minnesota with me. She was one of the panelists from SOCAP's panel on catalyzing place-based impact investment ecosystem. And it was a very interesting discussion. What do you think was the key points for the discussion?
Thank you. It's delightful to be on your panel today. And yesterday was a really interesting conversation about how to do investing in place, where you get economic development, where you get good impacts for the environment. We used to get all these impacts, social impacts that we're looking to achieve by mobilizing the power of the capital markets for good. So I think it was really fascinating to hear what's happening in the Twin Cities, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, as well as in Chicago. We heard a little bit about what the Kellogg Foundation is doing in Santa Fe, but really all over the country. More and more foundations and investors are looking to align their capital with their mission. So I think that was what was really interesting to hear about.
So let me get some part of your background. You're coming from Minnesota?
That's right, the home of everything Swedish. In fact, my husband is 100% descendant of Swedish immigrants, and we have the values of the Scandinavian countries, obviously, all throughout Minnesota. And because of that, actually, it was one of our senators, David Dernberger, who said that Minnesota is a special place because we have a combination of Scandinavian idealism and progressivity with Yankee frugality and practicality. So we have this unique culture of wanting a good quality of life for everyone. But also we are focused on results and getting things done. Along with that kind of Scandinavian Midwestern modesty, we don't like to blow our own horn, but my job really yesterday on the panel was to talk about the great things happening in Minnesota.
So one of the questions I have is when you look at neighborhoods or cities, it's a lot of silos, barriers to combine different types of sources. What's your experience from that sort of problem?
Yeah, so in Minnesota, we did have the silos. We had, the foundation nonprofit community was kind of over here. We had the for-profit community, another place. We had banks, financial advisors, government. Everyone was doing their own thing, and no one was really connected. And so actually through our Impact Hub in Minneapolis, we convened everyone together in one space and in one group. We said, if we combine forces, there's a lot of capital here. Could it be put to work to make our communities a better place to live, work, and play? And so by gathering in a safe, neutral space and making good use of everyone's time, we were able to kind of convene and create an ecosystem that we actually mapped. We actually mapped the ecosystem in terms of who's involved in putting capital to work for good.
And this has been in place for some time?
It's just pretty new. It's been about a year that we've been working on the ecosystem. Of course, people have been involved with various kinds of impact investing for years, but now we're really seeing the activity tick up from 50 people about a year and a half ago to over 400 are involved now, from all different parts of the community and even throughout the state.
Interesting. Who has been the driving force for this development?
I think it's really been a community-led effort, but good intentions are wonderful and volunteering is great, but that can only take us so far. So really, it's been the Bush Foundation. The Bush Foundation was set up by Archibald and Edith Bush, Archibald was an executive with the 3M Corporation, a little Minnesota-based company you may have heard of that invented Scotch tape and Post-it notes, among other products. But Archie set up the Bush Foundation, which is now $1 billion foundation. And they see this need for investing in the infrastructure and the ecosystem and people who want to do good. So it was really thanks to the Bush Foundation stepping up to kind of fund this work, and working with the Impact Hub as a partner in my company, Cogent Consulting, we were able to lead the charge and get everyone involved.
How do you see the policy making process in this to allow people to collaborate? The politicians' role, the mayor's role, local leaders. Have you any experience from that decision making?
That's a great question about the political leaders. In fact, some of the political leaders have really been quite interested in looking at ways to align their investments with the positive social impact. In our ecosystem map, we actually have the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul on the map as listed as having great interest in investing for their own civic good. So we've really engaged them more on the civil servant level, who've actually been very helpful in providing data. And now in this next phase of the project, the Bush Foundation has stepped up for year 2. So we are actually going to be engaging more and more with the policymakers. Along with my philosophy degree, I actually have a degree in public policy. So I'm very interested in the political implications and how to engage the public sector. But in the States, our private sector is very innovative, and it's actually where a lot of interesting policy is happening at corporations, banks, and nonprofit groups. So it's not all just happening at the state level.
What's one issue that I'm missing from the panel? It was related to technology. And which role can technology play to bring people together? How have you been working?
Yes, I think technology can be a powerful tool for good. I think it is not, though, the end result. So when we started the project, we wanted to map our ecosystem. And we really were focused on finding great technological tools to do that. And we did. We used Kumu, which is a free mapping software. And actually our map is open sourced, available on Kumu. So I think technology can be a great tool to create a dynamic map that people can interact with online. You can sort by different categories, the sources of capital, the users of capital, and the intermediaries. So I think technology can be a great tool, but at the end of the day, it's about relationships and it's about people. So I think the technology is a tool for the greater good, for the end result. And sometimes people get kind of lost in the technology and don't get out to really focusing on the people and the relationships.
Yeah. And is this the first time for you to be here at SOCAP?
Actually, it's my second time, so I'm feeling like a SOCAP veteran now. It's really exciting. Last year we were here with maybe 7 or 8 of us from Minnesota, and this year we're here with 50 because the Bush Foundation has stepped up and funded scholarships for a whole bunch of people in our entrepreneurs across our region, including in North South Dakota, to come here to SOCAP. So we really are excited about how Minnesota takes SOCAP this year.
So maybe we can find a Swedish Minnesota meeting next year.
Absolutely. I'm sure
SOCAP.
probably half of us probably have Swedish heritage.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Susan, and hope to meet you next year here at SOCAP again.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks.